What is up, everybody? Welcome to Late Night Gamers Podcast, episode number 143. I'm Nick Personowski, and with me this week and every week is Steve Morgan.
I'm back.
I thought those were gone forever. Tim Madden.
Hello, how are you?
Charles Caldwell.
Give me the chat.
I feel like that should just be your catchphrase all the time, Charles.
Yeah.
Just consistent. I want your children.
Just show up like a baby shower.
Give me the child. Give me the child. Give me the child.
What is that even from? I feel like we've discussed this like 10,000 times, but I
don't think we know.
I
think it was some movie that-
the sands of time.
I feel like it was some movie that you watched.
I think so.
Yeah, I don't know.
I feel like I don't know. I feel like it was the. It's like a play on the Mortal Kombat one where it's like your soul is mine, but it's not really. Or the
Heart of a child in a mother's care.
what's the Candyman, that Candyman movie that we watched? Did he also say your soul is mine? And then bust it out through the window?
You are mine.
That's right. Tony Todd. Anyway, enough with that tangent.
We have plenty more tangents to come.
That's basically all this podcast
I'm
is
creeping
about.
myself out with these glasses. I gotta take them.
Steve looked more like he should be saying, "Give me the child."
Yeah.
Like, here's some candy.
I got a van out back. There's lots of puppies and kittens. Anyway. So we have a couple of things to discuss this week because, and as we were going into the podcast, I feel like we were all like, yeah, the news this week has been real slow, and then we started
like 20
remembering
things that we posted.
Yeah.
There's plenty to talk about.
I think we should let's go in chronological order as to what happened most or the longest time ago, and I think that was the Computer Electronics Show, right?
It was kind of at the end of last week.
Was it the end of last week?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, all right. Well, let's start by just saying Mass Effect Andromeda has a release date of March 21st. That there was some gameplay at Computer Electronics Show. I mean, the game looks great. I never played any of the earlier ones, so.
Oh man.
Yeah, I know.
That's a great. I mean, I guess the original was. I'd say it's since come out on PC, but I think the third one was multi-platform. The original was like Xbox exclusive, but man, that's a really good trilogy. Except I guess the big controversy was like the final ending of the third one, and that was one of those games. It was a BioWare game where like you could import your save when you went to the next game, so you kind of like had a big overarching story, which was pretty cool.
I think the first one was kind of classically the best one.
Yeah.
Overall, because it introduced a lot of new stuff. The second one felt more polished because they had more of the customizable like storylines and shit.
The combat was a lot better than the second one.
And then the third one, the combat was a lot better. The Galaxy stuff was a lot better. But then the storyline, they got too big. Like there was too many variations on the storyline, so then they just crunched everything down.
Yeah, and I think that the ending was kind of rushed in the third one, but
People
it's still
were pissed.
really good game. Yeah, I don't know. Looking at Andromeda, it looks really good, and there's like all new sorts of like you can jetpack and do all these weird things, which seems pretty cool. And it's like totally divorced from the the Shepard story, which is cool. So you're just kind of doing your own thing.
That's cool.
Yeah, so you're not like a infallible god.
yeah, pretty much.
Yes, I did check really quickly to see if the Mass Effect trilogy I think came out on PlayStation 3 potentially, but and obviously was on Xbox. But I think they're talking about remasters of the first 3 games. Which, if you buy that trilogy all at once, that's like it's gonna last you like months of gameplay.
I mean, they came out so far apart. Like I had no idea what happened in this first one. Like then second one came out. Like, so I don't think you really need to play the other ones, but they're still. I mean, they're good. That's like the BioShock series. They're all pretty good.
Yeah.
Well, that's what happened to me. I totally forgot some storyline piece. So then they were asking me the questions about like what I did. I totally screwed it up.
Yeah.
So I was like, "Who the hell's this character?" And it's like, "Hey, Shepard." And it's like one of the Grogan guys, and I was like, "Who the hell are you? I don't remember you."
That's true. That's another good thing about it. It's like if you save someone or kill someone in the first game, that will have ramifications in the second, and then so on. It's kind of like a big, I think the Witcher series is kind of like that too.
Trickle down.
At least between Witcher 2 and Witcher 3.
Yeah. I don't know. It's too bad they didn't release the trilogy before they came out with Andromeda. Only because, well, I guess since there's no. It's not like the Shepard story.
So.
Yeah, so I guess it doesn't really matter. So it's probably going to be Mass Effect Andromeda, and then they'll continue on that hype as I break my shit over here. They'll continue on that hype as Andromeda, because I'm sure it's going to bring in new people that want to play it just because it's a gorgeous looking game, and they've heard so much about the Mass Effect series, and then they'll get to play the first 3, and it'll be like starting all over again.
Yeah.
Okay. Destroyed it. Anyway, moving on to the Computer Electronics Show. Tim, why don't you catch us up on some of these things? I went through some of the links for these, and I have some things.
Yeah, these are the 2. I mean, I didn't look at everything. These are the 2 that kind of stood out to me, though, of the few things I did look at. Razer had 2 pretty cool things. I mean, one's kind of gimmicky. I mean, I guess they're both pretty gimmicky, to be honest. But
what's new with Razer, though?
They had the one I thought that was the coolest. It's called Project Ariana, and it's kind of like a multi-monitor setup, but not really. Basically what it is a projector that you have in your room that projects onto the wall, but it's kind of like you still have your monitor in front of you, but then all around the monitor is the rest of what you would see. It's kind of like a fisheye view of what's around you, so it kind of adds a level of immersion that you might not have otherwise. And it seemed really cool. It seems like it would be help the game be more immersive, but at the same time, like it's not like something you need. It's not going to make you, if you're more competitive, it's not going to do. It may or may not help you in that sense, but
I was looking at the photo.
Like a forest or something, and there's no way you can tell it apart. And then you're like, all right, there he is.
Yeah,
because you got this giant wall screen.
I mean, I think it would be cool for atmosphere, like games that have pretty intense atmosphere. Where you're walking through a forest or something where stuff is actually going on all around you.
Dead Space would be creepy.
Oh god, that would be terrible. It is really similar to the Microsoft or the Xbox. Like, is it Room Alive or one of those? It was something that they had shown off that was like Kinect, but it was a projector and it like illuminated or it was a Luma Room. That's what it was. And it kind of illuminated the entire room in the game.
Yeah, but I think my big complaint is, first of all, you have to have a completely bare, like one big bare wall that you mount your computer monitor onto, and that's it. And in the video, the guy's desk is like 30 feet away from the wall, so it's just
takes the
like you're squinting at this computer screen way far away. Like, what am I doing? So that kind of defeats the purpose. I mean, my monitor's like probably, 13, 14 inches away from the edge of my desk. Like, if I got to mount it like 20 feet away, that's gonna suck. So that would be my first complaint. And then you have to have the space and everything. And I just feel like I mean, I feel like it's a really cool idea for people who are like established PC gamers who are going to play like the old style games no matter what. But I feel like this thing's probably going to cost several $100s. Like, I mean, if you're looking for immersion, just go buy an Oculus or go buy a HTC Vive. Like, I just feel like I don't know. I feel like it's cool at what it does, but it's not the best at what it does. You know, just get a VR headset and you'll be way more immersed.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, looking at the looking at the photos from the show, the projector is projecting the game on the wall or whatever, but then it's also projecting it like on like a bookshelf. So it's like, you know, there's like unless you have a room that's literally there's nothing in the room except for a desk that sits 20 feet away from a completely empty wall. Then I think you're right. I think VR is definitely the way to go. I mean, if you're gonna lay down some cash for anything, it's VR is only gonna get better. So, and the projector, even in the photos, the projector like it was very clear. Obviously, you don't get the resolution that you do from a monitor. So, projecting onto a wall is pretty. I don't know. Lacking.
Yeah, I mean, if it's $100 and you just strap it to your ceiling and get this cool effect, then okay, I can understand that. But if it's $500, like that's an Oculus Rift right there to go, you know, spend your money on something better.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. I mean, you just looking at the videos and stuff, it's like looks like there's a lot of like important stuff outside. Like the whole guy's sword is like outside of the screen, and you're just like, if it's just to be the edges of the screen, just like be sort of like, oh, there's like just sort of just like you said, like the ambiance, but like if there's actual content outside, it's like a nightmare. I don't want to actually be able to like see this blurry person I'm gonna shoot at like on the side, like turn my head and see them, but they're all like fisheye blurred, like So it's a little strange. It's like it seems very like game specific. Like it has to, like certain games would be good in, but like 95% of games probably be horrible. Like it just probably wouldn't even be worth it, even if it worked. It like wouldn't even be like you're gonna play like any indie game like this. No, you're gonna play like any MMO, like any game. Like so.
Play Terraria.
Blurry edges and shit. So it just seems kind of like.
Maybe you could create like an infinite loop of Terraria where like you could like run around the entire perimeter of your room.
Seems awesome. I think you're onto a better idea than what's going on here. It's pretty bad.
Well, Razer does have another option for you if you don't want this projector in your room.
Yeah.
You know what's better than one monitor? Tim, you can take us.
Yeah, I think this feels more gimmicky to me. It's a 3-monitor, a triple monitor laptop. You know, so it's a 17-inch laptop that 2 screens like slide out from the main screen, and you get like this big triple monitor setup. It's just ludicrous. And actually, if you look it up, it's actually thinner than like other 17-inch laptops, which I guess is pretty impressive that they've managed to like put a triple monitor setup in this little tiny laptop. But I don't know, I just don't like if you're at a coffee shop and you're like, yeah, and you just flip on your 3 monitors, like, Jesus Christ, dude.
People are gonna be like, who's he trying to kill with a drone?
People are gonna be walking by, the servers gonna be walking by, smacking the monitors, like, all right.
Yeah, also too, I don't know, like I have 3 monitors in my setup right now, and it's generally hard to use all 3. Like, if I'm talking about purely work, like it's just 2 is good. Like it's good. Like if you're doing something and you want to be able to reference something, it's always nice to have another monitor. It really, like if you haven't used 2 monitors, you do any type of like writing, coding, like any work that you need to look at something else, like it helps so much. Just like you don't want to be tabbing or like making your windows half size. So I totally looked at this and I was like, awesome. Like this is the big problem I have with my laptop is I'm like super used to like having like a document on one screen and think I'm editing on the other, and then I'm like, oh, I gotta tab through this shit, and I'm like, this is a great idea, like totally be awesome to have an extra screen. And then I'm like, what would I do with a 3rd screen? It's like, I mean, you're gonna have like gonna have a YouTube video open on one and working on the other two? Like how could possibly like so it's not really that good. But I mean, clearly Razer is like pushing it for gaming, and then when you see it for gaming, it's like, well, like it's the same problem with the other one. It's like if it's a first person shooter or like a game where you're like viewing something, it's like a great thing. Like, first off, it's like cheating. Like, I don't even think most games allow you usually to have the field of view like that large. Otherwise, everyone would just buy like 10 monitors and see like guys standing behind you. So like,
just like a dome all the way around you.
So like, usually most first-person shooters that are competitive, they have some sort of field of view which is limited. Like, even if you get a big ass monitor and try to like make the resolution ridiculous, it just like cuts it off. So like, or you have like bars on the top or whatever, right? So it's like, you know, so first off, like that, and then the other thing is like that's it. Like, so that's the same problem, is like that, like it's only gonna be first person shooters. Like, what other game can you possibly imagine like having to have a screen that's like 30 by 8 or whatever the hell like this ratio is for 3 monitors like back to back, and there's lines in the middle, so it's like it's kind of similar to their other thing where it's like, okay, it's cool for like I can imagine games like Skyrim and games where it doesn't matter, they'll let you just look everywhere, and you want to have like that sort of like feel, like the like be able to like just have things in your peripheral, like, you know, like that you'll notice, like, you know, there might be a guy and you turn, you'll see him, you won't have to even look at him, you'll just know he's there. Things like that, like, cool, but and to get you like way more viewing angles, so if you have like a really pretty game, but for the most part, it's like, is that worth it? Like, I'm sure it's it's like a ridiculous amount of money, but I don't know. I mean, with me shitting all over it for gaming, I do think it's cool that like someone's pushing this and then like in a direction. Like, it's just like something that maybe if it becomes like cheap and it's very easy to do, like would be really convenient. To at least like, even if it was only like one screen that like you didn't have to pull out, but like you could. So if you wanted to use, like, so if you're in a coffee shop, you just like keep the screens like in and you just like use the front one. But then like, oh, you want to like do something, you just pull the other screen out. So like now you have 2 screens. Like, I can imagine it being like pretty sweet. And now with laptops like the way they are, I mean, I just bought a laptop for like $700 and it pretty much plays every game on like high. It's not like amazing. It's not gonna like do ultra or any of the brand new games, but the fact that you can do that now for that kind of price is like, it's pretty impressive. Like, laptops are like computers in general are just becoming a lot cheaper to play games, like good games. So I can see it being like maybe in like 5-10 years, like I'm just like, whatever, I'm not even gonna have a desktop, I just have a fucking triple screen laptop, and it's like pretty much 90% of like what I would get out of a desktop or something like that. So pretty sweet, but definitely, like you said, gimmicky. Like, first thing I thought was just like, what fucking game do I play now that I'm just like, I definitely need 3 laptop screens for? It's like Overwatch, no. Dota, no. Like, I don't know, all the Blizzard games, no. First off, I mean, so it's just like, I don't know. I don't understand. Like, I don't look at that and go like, I gotta get that for this thing. It's just like,
I think there's some major limitations too, especially with you know, I mean, I had a triple monitor set up for gaming for a long time. I, you know, did NVIDIA surround. I had, you know, the setup for the laptop is you know, landscape, I guess, or, you know, it's the wide way. You know, they're all set flat, you know, across, and that's good for like FPSs, good for like any sort of first person game. You know, it's good for like WoW, maybe like third person games a little bit. But once you get into like, so I mean, that first of all, it severely limits the amount of games that you can really play. So like, if you wanted to play Terraria, it's only going to work on that middle monitor. If you want to play Diablo or, you know, any top down, you know, isometric type game, it's only going to work on the middle monitor. So it's like you really kind of get stuck there. So I ended up, for the majority of my time that I had a triple monitor setup, I put it in portrait. So I had 3 monitors, you know, up and down, connected. And that was better because I could play Terraria on 3 monitors, could play Diablo, I could do more games. So it's cool, but it's like it really limits you in the number of games that you can play.
I also question how the integrity of the build when you have sliding parts, especially screens. Like, I just feel like it's gonna break, and then you just wasted like $2,000 or whatever, this $5,000.
God,
whatever.
they have LEDs under the screens too that like give you like little different colors and shit.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean, But you're right. I feel like, I mean, especially with any laptop, I feel like they've gotten better over the years. But I can remember having laptops where the hinge would break, and now you got these crazy, like, if you look at the video, it's like these weird little things, little hooks that slide out, and it's just like way too many moving parts. That thing's gonna get destroyed in like 10 seconds.
Yep.
Yeah. I remember my college laptop, the one that I got back in right after I graduated from high school. It was like 2004, and I had it for like a long time. That laptop was like, the screen had to be propped up like onto something. you couldn't do anything. You couldn't open it up. It didn't lock. It was like the lock broke off, so it just like kind of flopped backwards. And hey, lasted a long time. It was good. So something else happened at Computer Electronics Show. Was there somebody stole some stuff?
Oh yeah, that's related to Razer. Yeah, so apparently someone came in and stole their prototypes. I don't know exactly which ones. I don't know if they've said which ones, but yeah, someone stole Razer's prototypes from their booth. I think they've said they've had prototypes stolen before, but I don't know if anything's ever been stolen from CES. It's pretty crazy.
That's ballsy.
Yeah. You'd think they'd have like a shitload of cameras.
You think they'd also have it like locked down?
Yeah, I'm surprised. I
wonder if it was like a publicity stunt. That's what I thought afterwards. Just like,
I can see that. They did release a statement
that Razer had stolen. Who would want them and why?
They're just like in their own truck. They're just like, fuck, whatever.
Oh yeah, we stole them. Sorry. Yeah, they did release a statement, something about they weren't confirming whether or not it was like industrial espionage, but they had a feeling it might be, which is kind of crazy.
Probably just
that is crazy.
Companies in China trying to take all of the jobs.
It was North Korea.
Yeah, Kim Jong-un. Speaking of North Korea, this is just a little side anecdote. Someone posted a picture of like the Steam heat map, and there's one dot in North Korea on the capital. It just says Kim Jong-un has a Steam account.
Yeah, it's all dark, and then there's one little blip right on Pyongyang.
I wonder what kind of games do we think he plays?
Dude, he plays like Call of Duty. He plays all the douchey bro games.
That's true. He is a douchey bro, that's for sure.
Plays them all, but then he makes like his own. He makes people like recode the game so that it's all like American soldiers on the other side, and like,
yeah.
Or he's only playing. He probably plays against people that he knows. So he has people set up so that it's like a private match, and then they let him win every time. But then if he doesn't win, then he just has them all murdered. I feel like,
pretty much, yeah.
I feel like that's probably what happens.
That's funny. Also, before we leave CES, we kind of talked about the Sony Bravia that they released. It's not really gaming related, but Alpha mentioned it, and also we had all talked about it offline. And if you want to talk about
we were talking about the Samsung one.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I think that was the one that we mentioned.
That's right. That's right. But it's the same kind of thing, right? They're both super thin. These ridiculously thin TVs.
So I think from what I remember about the Samsung TV, I don't remember what the name of it was, but it was 4 or 0.4 millimeters.
Jesus.
4 millimeters. 4 millimeters. Yeah, 4 millimeters. 0.4 would be like paper.
It was basically paper, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
4 millimeters is still ridiculous.
Yeah, it's insane.
4 millimeters is insane, and it's like, and to keep the thinness of the television throughout like the entire thing, it has one hookup that goes to a like a sound bar sort of thing, and the sound bar has all of the inputs and outputs for the television, and so it's like one cord that goes into the TV that keeps that's nuts to me, and it's it's like I think it's like 77 inches or something, and it's
Oh.
flexible, and it can be hung by magnets, so it stays as flat to the wall as possible.
The
Crazy.
the one that is online, is 1 millimeter. It's 1 millimeter. It's absurd. Yeah,
Jesus.
it's called wallpaper.
Yeah, that's nuts. I mean, I feel like, I mean, granted, like we've seen a lot of technology advance in our lifetimes, but I mean, I remember the TV that I brought to college that Charles helped me move in was like one of those boxed in 32-inch televisions. my
CRT.
sophomore, I think. Oh my god, it was it was like it was the one that Kim used to have, Steve.
God.
It was like
yeah, I know
a
which one you're
full in
talking.
like wooden boxed in
Yeah.
television.
These giant ass ones.
It weighed like 500 pounds.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like these things are so thin, and they're just like they're literally like they're like flexible too because of that. Because
Yeah.
they're so thin, they're like intentionally flexible, which I don't really understand. Because I'm like they're like, oh, one's like flexible and you can like paste it onto your wall like wallpaper, and I'm just like, what the fuck would you ever need a curve? Like why would your wall be curved? Like your wall is always flat, so like flat's fine. Like unless you live in a house with like a warped ass wall that you want to have your like TV like follow the contours of it, which still doesn't make any sense. But like,
It'll be perfect for my IMAX theater.
This makes me wonder if it's fragile at all, if it's like if it really is like a plastic that's just not breakable.
I mean, I don't understand this. I'm watching the video of the dude. There's just a guy like bending in the
Yeah,
corner
they're
of
just-
the like. What are you doing? Why?
I'm
I
showing a
don't get
video
it.
of a really pretty girl bending the corner. That's pretty standard Samsung. Yeah, it's like it clearly looks like it doesn't. It clearly looks like a piece of plastic, as in like it will break if you bend it hard enough, right? Like
Yeah.
You take your glasses and you just go smash.
it's not like your glasses, Charles.
You're not gonna be able to fold it in half. Anytime.
There's no titanium.
I do suspect that that's where it will go eventually at one day, but I still don't. Yeah, I don't know. Just gonna roll it up and then unroll it and then pretty
Yeah.
much.
Did you
That'd
bring
be-
a bath towel to the beach? No, this is my television.
It would be pretty ridiculous if you could have like a box at the top of your that runs like flush with the ceiling, and you can put and it fills and it'll go from like wall to wall, and then you just pull it down, and it's not a projector screen, it's an
Yeah.
actual television, and it just like sits in the corners. Like, and then it covers your entire wall but only has that one little box, and it's not TV all the time.
Yeah, that's
That'd
pretty.
be- I
That's
don't know, it's
pretty
crazy.
much what it's gonna be.
Yeah, it's not TV all the time because the other times it's like some weird like scenery or something, and it's like that's beautiful artwork. Oh, that's just my TV.
Your boss calls you and then fires you, like on Back to the Future. It's
Yeah.
It's pretty much. Yeah. Also, like I feel like this is obviously just for TVs, but it would be interesting like how that affects phones going forward too, like these type of screens, because I feel like sort of like if you've seen Westworld, that sort of tablet thing they have that like unfolds is like probably really accurate, like as to like what your phone will be. It'll be like you just like unfold it and it'll be like the size of like a 10-inch tablet, but in your pocket, the size of a normal phone. So it'll be like really cool to see that when that happens, but I'm sure they're very far from that, because also you have to have like a digitizer, like touch screen, all this bullshit. So there's a lot more technology, and also like all the components. Like the TV kind of like benefits from having probably like this tiny little like PCB that like just runs like television. Even if it's a smart one, it's pretty tiny. Whereas like a phone is kind of has to do a lot more power usually in general. So it can't, and it has a camera and all these receivers and like vibrates and all this bullshit. Like you can't just make it this thin thing. So you know, that stuff has to change. But the first thing I saw when I saw the TV was just like, can't wait for my phone to just be like a fucking little scroll that like a little pen that I just like that I pull out of my pocket, and then it's just like
It's a little thing you just wrap around your wrist and it's a watch.
yeah,
I think it's cool. I think the TVs are obviously the first thing the easiest thing to do with it are like non-touch screens. Because, well, actually, I'm surprised that they're doing TVs because OLED is like incredibly expensive. I know the prices come down a lot, but it's like it's basically like a normal TV. You have the backlight, and then you have LEDs, and then you have like the just a plastic protector. But OLED, those are fused into one, so it's the LEDs and the backlighting in one array. So that's why they can allow it to bend, and because it's all one part. But once you take like once you take a touch device, and you have the digitizer, and so they have to merge all those layers, and I think they'll get there eventually. I'm pretty sure they've shown off prototypes of touch, OLED touchscreens that are bendable. So it'll be cool to see that going forward. Like a game device that you mash, you bend it like when you're angry or something. You just push the buttons on the screen. It'd be cool.
Charles, you better
your TV is a bouncy, so it just
invest
bounces
in
off.
that.
You just punch your TV and just bends and just ripples and nothing happens.
It's a boxing game, so you just punch the TV. Like.
Or they can get smart, so it knows you're punching it, and it puts a little face there that goes "ow."
Yeah.
Sounds so dangerous. Sounds so dangerous.
Yeah. Well, in other news, I don't have a segue for this.
Yeah, we've lost it.
I was like, yeah, I don't have it anymore. So the NES Classic Edition, which came out a couple months ago, I think, at this point, and it was the way the NES the classic NES is now is that you get like 30 games and a controller and whatnot. You can't update it. You can't put any more games on it. It doesn't connect to the internet. There's no additional memory, so it's not like you can like get an SD card or something and put it in with new games. However, kind of ironically enough, a Russian hacker went in and hacked the console so that it will fit up to so that you can actually upload NES games, and it sounds like it can fit up to 90 games. I don't know what the actual internal memory of it is, but I really wish they did that in the first place. Yeah. Like, otherwise people because they have different versions, so people could buy 3 NES classics to get the other games, or they can just emulate them for free on your computer. It's like, just put them all on there.
Yeah, I'm sure the reason they didn't do it was probably licensing. They gotta go find all these people from 30 years ago and be like, hey, can we use your game? And I'm sure
all dead.
I'm sure those are yeah. Half the companies don't exist anymore. So that I'm sure was a pain in the ass. But I mean, I think a lot of people kind of assumed this was going to happen. Someone was going to hack it or come up with some sort of jailbreak or something. So it's seems cool. You can put whatever ROMs you want on there, download whatever, and put them on. And generally I'm not one to pirate games, but I feel like when it's something this old, when it's a system from over 30 years ago, who cares? Just do it. Play what you want to play.
I mean, really, how much money are these companies making off of this stuff anyway? Not much.
Right.
Licensing can't be that.
Well, I mean, now they're not making anything because they don't make the games anymore. So if they're the only people making money are resellers, people like GameStop or anyone who still stocks old NES games.
Yeah. I wish more places did actually stock NES games.
Yeah, I don't think GameStop does anymore, actually. I can remember going. Yeah, I can remember going, and they'd have the huge bin of NES games, and
it's fantastic.
You would buy the 99-cent games that were really bad.
Awful. I mean, there are plenty of games. A good, I'd say probably at least a third to almost half of the games that were produced on the NES were absolute garbage.
Yeah.
Just because people made games, I mean, it just became the popular thing to do. So games came out for everything. I mean, McDonald's had its own Nintendo game.
Yeah.
I don't know. There were some terrible games. There were some fantastic games. out there that that still hold up today, including the Mega Man games, which just released this week. Mega Man Mobile 1 through 6, all of the first 6 games are available on iOS and Android now.
Really?
Which is
cool.
It's pretty cool, and they're like $2 a piece, so it's like super reasonable too. I got that from Capcom. I wanted to get some codes, but I haven't heard back from them. But yeah, NES games, old stuff. Just give it to us. We're entitled. That's what happens. Speaking of games that don't exist anymore, Microsoft this week canceled Scalebound, which is, I feel like, a huge blow to a lot of Xbox gamers. Maybe not. Maybe not, but at least, coming from a perspective of a PlayStation gamer, I looked at a lot of the like the Microsoft exclusives. Scalebound was going to be a new IP for the Xbox, and that was one of the games, apart from like Sunset Overdrive, and I don't know, there might be one or two other ones, but Scalebound was one of the ones that I was actually like, oh, that looks like a game I would play. It looks interesting. It looks different. It looks, it looked cool, and it's officially been canceled. All of the videos for Scalebound, official videos, have been taken down off of YouTube. So it's like dead in the water. Not even.
So like Darksiders, where it's like tentative, they could maybe come out with a game. It's like they're canceling this entire IP. They're saying it's never going to happen. It's dead.
Yep. Yeah. Microsoft is like basically taking it out back and shooting it. That's I did have a conversation. Alpha Fox Warfare, who's a writer for our website, actually does a lot of reporting on this kind of stuff, and he was the one that broke the news when I found out, and we had a couple conversations online just about the potential of could Sony buy the rights to the game and continue production, because they're really far along in production of the game. I don't know the details as to like why it was canceled, but who knows?
Your article you posted sounded like they were getting bogged down in the development, and like some of the developers had to take like month breaks because they were so far behind.
They did mention that they were missing deadlines, and they had some issues with with the engine, and it just sounds like normal, workplace bureaucracy. They couldn't get out on time, and came to a head.
Sounds like they need some better people working on the game.
Yeah,
potentially, or it's just not going to work with the engine that they're working with.
Yeah.
So that was a bummer to hear that.
Definitely.
It's always a bummer when new IPs die, because I feel like we get so many new iterations. I feel like every game that I play is just a sequel, or like a direct sequel, or a like sub-story sequel of a game that's already been made. So
yeah,
the games that I have right now, Battlefield 1, it's Battlefield. It takes place in World War 1, which is great, but Far Cry Primal, it's Far Cry just at a different time period. And that's basically what Battlefield is. It's just Battlefield with a different time period. And I don't know, other games, but it's just new IPs. I feel like really we need to have more.
Yeah, they're few and far between. Especially with something like this, because it was so unique. I think that's what caused a lot of people to be interested in it. It's kind of like it's like The Last Guardian, but instead of a weird ass dog thing, you got a badass dragon.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
The fucking weird dog. I don't want to talk about that. Thing comes up in my Facebook feed all the time. It's like, do you want to play this game? I'm like, why is this here? See it every day. I probably see The Last Guardian every day.
Well, unless anybody else has more to talk about that we haven't touched upon today, I think we'll jump into what we've been playing and then sign off. So, Steve, why don't you start us off?
Let's see. I've been playing a lot of Overwatch, I would say, with the new season, the new map and stuff out. But I also the Humble Bundle got released. The Humble Bundle Monthly just got released, and so that's sort of like my this week. I sort of usually just jam on all the games, and it came with Project Cars, which was really cool, and I've been playing that a little bit, and then also today started playing this game called Jotun or something. It's Viking-y, and it's pretty sweet. It's very pretty. It's got some really good animations, and it's pretty sweet. I would say it's so far it's very similar to Bastion. It's all narrated, but it's all narrated in German and subtitled, and then there's just all this. Actually, I don't even mean German. It's probably Norse. I don't even know I can't understand it, and it's got just really really good animation, just really good music, soundtrack, and animation. So it's really
What game
cool.
is that?
It's called Jotun. It's Jotun.
Oh yeah, I've played that. I like that one a lot.
Yeah. So really cool. Just it's almost like playing a movie or something. So it's definitely better animation than Bastion, obviously.
It's quite difficult.
Yeah. No, I got to the first boss and got my ass beat. Actually, I almost beat it, but I was just dang, this is the first boss. I figured this will be a lot easier than this. So yeah, I've been playing that game, and there's a few other ones. There's this weird ass game that came in the Humble Bundle Monthly this month. It was about being a babysitter or something. It was weird as shit.
Oh, God.
I was just give this to my girlfriend or something. It's I don't even understand. It's just all animated, and you're a girl, and then you have to buy things and plan things. I don't know. It seems horrible. It's one of their Humble Bundle Monthly originals or something. So I don't. It's clearly not their. It's clearly just a game they throw in that was just made probably an hour or something. I don't know. Maybe it's really good. I have no idea. It just looks weird as shit. I still don't understand what it's about. I've watched the trailer multiple times trying to figure out what it is. But anyways, yeah. So been playing just a bunch of random shit like that, and also actually I grinded a bunch on Final Fantasy 15. I'm probably about 20 hours into the game now. Well, it says 20 hours. I'm maybe more 15 because it counts when you pause and all this shit. No, it's pretty good. It's getting a lot more Final Fantasy. The world's growing, and there's all these little side games. I spent an hour playing a pinball machine, and I was just damn. So, but yeah, I know. Also, too, it's had some pretty big. At some point, there was a god. I was fighting this guy that was I was the size of his finger, and he was just beating the shit out of him. And then this god came down and smashed everything in a fight, and I was damn, all this boringness has paid off. So, it's had some pretty cool shit in it. But yeah, I've just been a scatterbrain with video games lately, just playing all kinds of weird shit. I could just probably write you a list of 20 games I played in the last week for 2 hours each. It's been crazy.
Happens sometimes.
It's good. Keeps me busy. Also keeps me unaccomplished, though.
And so the world turns. Tim, why don't you?
I've been really grinding out in Pokemon Moon, and finally have a badass team. Just hit most of my Pokemon are around level 50 now, and just wrecking stuff, man. Just one hit KOs every fight. Just bam bam, in and out.
Nice.
So yeah, that's cool. I felt kind of guilty just destroying people. I guess that's what it's. I guess that's
Does it still
Pokemon
have
life.
that component in the game where you walk across somebody's line of vision and it's bing, and then they
Yeah,
come back.
It's different in this one now. It's if you walk near someone and the screen gets really dark and narrow, it's and then someone just turns, he goes turns, and then it goes it does all this crazy stuff. But then it then the person has their stupid intro where they're "Whoa, I'm a swimmer and I'm just randomly walking around and I'm gonna battle you." Yeah, but it's cool. It's fun. It's definitely the best Pokemon game I've ever played. So worth picking up if you're into that.
Nice. Charles.
I am playing Shadowrun Dragon's Fall, I think is what it's called. It's like a top-down like strategy game, kind of like I don't know what the hell is it like. I don't know, but it's a strategy game where you're basically playing as like orcs, humans, elves, trolls, and modern day Germany after like some weird shit's happened with like magic all of a sudden pops into the world and people have shotguns. So it's interesting so far. Like I've got a little turret guy who's my main character, and then you've got your team that you've got where you've got to hack into stuff. So it's got like a sci-fi fantasy role playing tactics style game.
Is it co-op? Can you play with other people or not?
No.
Okay.
Not as far as I've seen.
It's pretty sweet. Looks cool.
Yeah. Though I did
Nice.
wish it was like a little more zoomed in on the characters because it seems like you're kind of zoomed out. Maybe I'll try to play around with that a little bit.
When you fight, is it turn-based?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Cool.
And so so there's some interesting mechanics. So like you start off in the mission and you can like run out of ammo, but your ammo replenishes every time you like have to fight. So that's kind of odd, but that doesn't bother me. So that's what I've been playing.
Nice. I finished Telltale's Batman series, which was actually really good. If anyone's into Telltale games, where you get to choose your own, adventure sort of storylines. The Batman game was really good, really dark, and it explored a lot of the villains' backgrounds, quite a bit actually, and I felt like it wasn't just like I'm Batman and here's another villain and we're enemies, because it actually kind of explained a little bit of stuff, and I thought they did a good job with it. I don't read the comics, so I don't know how true to the comics it is, but it was good. It was very good. So that was an instant platinum.
How does a game like that work? Like, I mean, in like the action sense, like, is it mostly talking? Because like in The Walking Dead, it was mostly sort of just like talking and decision making, and then like every once in a while you'd have to make like a quick decision, but that's wasn't really action at all. So
no, I mean, there isn't really a lot of action. It's more just QTEs where it's like swipe right, swipe left.
Yeah.
Press this certain thing of buttons.
So then
or
you
whatever.
get to watch sort of a cinematic of like what you decide. Kind of. It's pretty much.
Yeah. I mean, in terms of the dialogue and the QuickTime events happen. I found that the Batman game actually had like very long QuickTime events where you'll be in a fight scene and you have to. It's like swipe, X, square, X, circle, triangle, and then and it was a lot longer than some of the other Telltale games that I had played, but it was good. It was very good. The other game I picked up this week was one of the PlayStation Plus titles, Day of the Tentacle Remastered.
Oh yeah.
It's a Double Fine game, and it's really funny. The dialogue is pretty hilarious. The game I think was originally made in the early 90s, and it's like, I mean, the story is just goofy, and it's one of those games where you have to go and you just like collect different objects, and then you have the option to like potentially mix like any objects that you have in your inventory, and they might do something, and then you have to use them on certain people or in certain places to progress the story and whatnot, and it's really good. I never played it originally. This is the first time, so yeah, it's enjoyable. I'm not like super far in, but it's the dialogue's very funny, and there's a lot of little things that that you pick up on along the way that are it's humorous in general. But I think I'm gonna get the platinum on that. It's not really hard, so I'll probably play that, and then I think I'm gonna probably pick up Titanfall 2, do some YouTube videos for that, and I don't know. That's about it at this point.
Cool.
So
Cool.
yeah.
I have so many things I could say. We'll tangent for so long if I start talking about weird shit.
All right.
Like I mean, yeah.
All right.
I've been really meaning to play the Data Tentacle. I didn't realize it was PlayStation Plus. I saw it today.
Yeah, download it.
Yeah, I definitely should.
It's a humble bundle. It's in the humble bundle too,
yeah.
but you have to spend like $6.
It's just stupid. That game is super old. I remember like having it as a demo on like my 5 floppy disk DOS only version of like King's Quest 5 or some bullshit. So I like beat the first level when I was like 4 years old. I remember just being really confused when you're that young. Like those games, especially back then.
Oh god,
they're just like that one. Since it's remastered, like obviously the graphics are much better. But like also, I'm pretty sure that like I'm not even pretty sure. I am 100% sure there wasn't dialogue, like spoken dialogue in the game because they couldn't fucking even like they only had 8-bit speakers, so they couldn't even possibly make spoken dialogue in the game. So you had to read everything, and just remember being like, I'm confused as fuck. Like, and that's all the computer games were when I was a kid, were these point-and-click adventure games, which are like way too fucking difficult for a child. Like, I mean, they're not like impossible, but it's just like it's like frustrating as fuck. Cause I gotta take this little thing and then go somewhere and do something. It's like
it requires a much higher level of thought than a 5-year-old has time for.
Yeah. I can remember playing that, and I was like, "Fuck this! I'm gonna play Rampage or something else."
Exactly.
Pitfall.
Yep.
Yeah.
Nice.
And that's
Well,
how
that brings
I
us to
grew
the
up.
end. What did you
Sorry.
say?
And listen, that's how I grew up. And that's why I am what I am. So pretty much just like I could do this really hard thing, or I could just punch buildings and smash it.
I mean, have we really grown up?
No.
Are we any different than we were 25 years ago?
Are you playing
You know,
Data
less time for
Tentacle?
video games. That's what it
Yeah,
comes down
exactly.
to.
All right. Well, that brings us to the end of the podcast. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Make sure you subscribe to us on iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher, YouTube, anywhere you can find us. We're also on the Podbros Network at podbros.com, along with a bunch of other really good podcasts. So check those out as well. Follow us on Twitter at @TheLNGamers. And check out our website, lngamers.com, as we have a lot of news, reviews, opinion stuff. Check it out. It's good. We got a couple writers. A lot of content for us, so make sure to give them some support. And once again, thank all of you for listening. Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Tim. Thank you, Charles. I'm Nick. This has been Late Night Gamers Podcast, episode number 143.
Crazy.
And next time it'll be 144.
Damn.
Later.
144 episodes. That's insane.
That's
That's
pretty
crazy.
Like,
crazy.
or 143. Like, that's 143 weeks.
Yep.